Thank you for joining us for the Hostility Morning keynote. I will be your presenter today, John, joined here by my team of developers.
Nathan.
Ian.
I'm not a developer.
Matthew.
Then what are you?
I refuse to be referred
Steve
to. in
Ballmer
that.
asks you to leave.
You could be the marketing guy. Oh, well.
All right, now this is just us developers here.
Yeah, okay.
I don't appreciate being asked to leave like that. That is just very hurtful.
Take it up with HR.
It's not very kind. I am HR.
No, technically I'm HR, but even that I'm not
No,
very
he
good
said
at
that
it.
I was the stuff and things. That's one of the stuff and things. Ergo.
I think director of stuff and things sounds a lot better than
Ooh, it
manager of
does.
stuff and things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like director as well.
Well, I'm the owner and the president of this. I'm saying you're fired from doing HR work.
Dang it. 2 minutes. Jeez.
No. We don't fire people. We reallocate.
Steven, your position is being dissolved and we're really reallocating your resources to better fit the organization's goal.
Which is.
You no longer doing HR.
Okay, fine. Nathan, funny little quick thing. I made that little comment about the silicone keyboard covers. We had a client way back when who was our all Mac client. They had, at the time, between 50 and 60 employees. Therefore, 50 and 60 of those unibody Macs that I have. And they required that every single one have one of those covers on it because they were convicted to protect it, to protect from like crumbs and junk, because they were trying to squeeze every little bit of life out of those things they possibly could. And they did, because they didn't start replacing any of them. They were all 2010s to 2012s. They didn't start replacing them until 2017.
So
Actually, 18. Sorry.
very quick. I'm not going to explain this. This is just for those of you who know. You're welcome to look it up later. As a very deep cut, I have for one of my desk wired Mac keyboards. I had a silicone cover with all of the hotkeys on it for Aperture 3.
Oh my god. That's a whole blast from the past, like, because that was a thing at the time. People believed in those things, and so there was all the different designs and like the color coded
Dude,
ones.
the hotkeys on the keys was amazing.
How about we talk about the future now?
Yes, we need to talk
The
about
future is dark and bleak. Why would we want
we need to talk
that?
about our tech overlords keynotes that they did all their presentations this month.
Okay, y'all go for it.
So
Nathan, go ahead. Just
Google I/O is, so for those of you who don't know, all of the three major companies do developer conferences every year. They all have different names. Google's is Google I/O. So if you're curious to look into some of the developer videos, I will say this is the first year that I've actually I've really looked at both Google I/O and then Microsoft's, which we'll get to later. And I was not prepared for what I was about to see, because I am used to the Apple Developer Conference, which we'll probably touch on near the end, which from at least what I was digging up is very, very different, it seems, than what Google and Microsoft do. Definitely very much different than at least what Google was putting out. So on the Google, I don't know, for those of you who also kind of looked at it, I read through the 100 top things that they mentioned. It was pretty much all AI.
it's all Gemini. The entire thing is just integrations with Gemini or Learn LM or the Google AI Studio Suite that they have. That's all it is. It's AI everything.
So question for those of you who kind of pay attention to such things, and maybe no one has used it in a long time, but have they made any updates to Gmail in 10 years?
They did a facelift like 6 years
while.
ago?
Yeah.
7 years ago?
Was that the one where they introduced the categories?
Yes.
That was the last big facelift that I recall.
I believe so.
But other than that,
Because I was actually in the Gmail client not too long ago, and oh my word, that thing is clunky. I don't
Yeah.
understand why people love it. It's horrible.
It's
better than
simple. It's way better than Apple.
Yeah, I mean, if you're coming from like Outlook at all and then jumping directly into Gmail and expecting a similar interface, you're going to be very disappointed. Google streamlined it to the point where it's inefficient to work inside of it. Because I used to have to work inside of Gmail all the time, where my biggest annoyance is when I click on I want to compose a new email. Why do I have to go to the bottom right and then just get a small flyout to compose my entire email by default instead of I have my entire new email in the full screen?
Because it's supposed to be a chat. No, the biggest update to Gmail in the last 5 years was the fact that they started adding ads onto your email line.
Yes, that too. Well, they not just ads, they have that it's like that experience tab now that it sorts all of your junk mail and like here's all the deals that you have.
Mm-hmm. The promotions tab.
Well,
Thank
you
you.
can
Promotions, that's it.
thank God you can turn that off.
Are we talking about stock Gmail or
yes,
are we talking about
yeah.
Workspace?
No, just
No.
stock Gmail.
Workspace is much closer to the Outlook experience.
It's still horrible.
It's not good. It's closer.
No, because the inbox is just Gmail. It's just going through Workspace. There's not a visual UI difference between your personal Gmail and your email in Google Workspace.
It has a little bit less bloat in it. It's the big thing.
There's like you don't have ads in it.
Yeah.
Well, okay, fine, but
and some
by and large the UI is the same.
It's very similar.
Anyways,
the
Nathan,
same.
what did you have a question out of all that?
Yeah, has anyone actually? Because has anyone seen any updates? Because it seems to me like I'm used to in the Apple world. I'm used to whenever they do a developer conference, they point out something new with some UI somewhere. Sometimes it's pretty little, sometimes it's huge. Depends on the year. It was just all AI this year, and I was not prepared for that.
Yeah, I'm seeing. I mean, I didn't watch all the conference. I kind of flipped through, and I'm refreshing my memory on the points from I/O. And I mean, while I can see what you're saying, where there's nothing that stands out of like, let's go over all of our changes that we made in the Google fill in the blank Google UI. I mean, it is talking about how it is basically just Gemini. It's just AI, but it is AI integrations into things.
Yeah, they're doing
technically that's UI because it's adding elements.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like
it's
AI in search.
It's
so
exactly
in Google
what
search.
Microsoft was pushing a year and a half ago with their Copilot integration. Google is doing that now just with their Gemini integration. It's the exact same thing. If not, I mean, they're maybe like 6 months behind of what what Microsoft is doing instead of, Google has their sides of the organization is much more segmented versus Microsoft's, where the 365 ecosystem, where a lot of this AI integration was announced and being a part of. Google is kind of not piecemealing it, but it's like, okay, Gemini is going to work best in this way right here. Okay, we're going to use Gemini like this over here, and then Gemini is going to go and then work with these LMs over here. And it's like, okay, these are 3 different main segments that it's going to work with, but they're not getting that whole overarching, well, now Gemini is being this umbrella over top our entire ecosystem that's now integrating everything together. Which when we get to Microsoft's side, that's what their presentation was with Copilot, was that type of ecosystem that they're attempting to build.
I have a question, overarching question that applies to both at least Google and Microsoft, and may also apply to Google. It's a definitions.
mean Apple?
It applies to Google and Microsoft, and also maybe Google.
And also,
Yeah.
Apple as well. And then I also have I have an ADHD tangent that is applicable to Google, but may derail this. So I'm asking permission to possibly derail after my question, or you can tell me no.
Motioned and seconded.
Go for it. I'm curious now.
Okay, cool. So first, the overarching curiosity question: when they are referring to, because Google did this as well as Microsoft, when they're referring to agents in reference to Copilot and Gemini, the AI agents, what are they referring to?
An agent is essentially anything that is autonomous. You normally see agents referred to in the business sense as for something like client acquisition. A lot of businesses are moving away from lower like a tier 1 sales team, and they're just using sales agents to basically do the cold calling for them. And then if that agent gets a hook, that gets transferred into the tier 2 sales.
Okay, because like this is the one of the examples of, like on the Microsoft side, just real quick. It says GitHub Copilot meet the new coding agent, and then there's another reference to 365 Copilot and
Yeah, I'll get into
agent.
that on the 365 end, but yes,
okay, so we can come.
yeah, it's essentially think of that as just a AI integration with that system. It is
Okay.
it is now
There's-
think of how we've like installed like management agents on like
Yeah.
Windows machines and other things for like Sentinel-1 or these other type of like security products that have an agent that lives and does a
Mhm.
purpose, does its monitoring thing there.
and it has its communication with the central. With
Correct. Now you're
Yeah.
taking that and attaching instead of it being a small piece of just basic software that's rudimentary to this one like either API or whatever protocol it's choosing to do all of its information gathering from. You're now tying it back to an AI with its LM to then go and do that same purpose, but with a lot more function. And there's multiple building blocks on how they're doing these agents. You have very fundamental ones to very complex ones,
Okay,
all depending on what level of integration and build.
so it's a
and
component
its
to
purpose. Yes.
integrating
Yeah,
AI into things, basically.
Another way to explain it is as a task-based submind of the AI.
Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. That just, yeah, I was a little confused on that reference. I hadn't heard it before. Just wanted to clarify that. Then also, real quick, just a quick ADHD thought with Steven. The section of the Google I/O where they were talking about the little you can try on clothes virtually with AI. I know that it's as of right now, it's just it's a filter, it's a looks thing, right? You can see it on you, and it doesn't know how to size things for you. It doesn't like analyze your size and tell you that you need an extra large or you need a large, whatever. At whatever point that it is capable of doing that, what safeguards do you think they're going to put in place for it not fat shaming people?
None.
None.
Yeah.
Seeing that it's Gemini,
No.
how fast do you think it's going to be till it fat shames somebody?
very quickly.
Milliseconds.
Well, not only that, it's Gemini. So how fast is it going to be until it actually takes your measurements that you've probably taken from your phone and start selling that data?
Ooh.
Oh, it's insanely fast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Ooh, that's an interesting thought experiment there. Because that can be valuable data as far
Mhm.
as the ad space goes.
Yeah. I am not.
Mhm.
I am not okay with this.
That would be an incredible dark pattern. I'm just like I'm diving into the evil part of this. Is that okay? So like picture this, right? Gemini, you're using it to size yourself. It sizes you wrong, okay, and it does fat shame you.
Yeah.
But then they sell that information to, let's say, Amazon, and then Amazon starts pumping you, correctly sized things that make you feel a little bit more
Mhm.
appreciative of your current body state.
As well as weight loss.
I think
Are you kidding
that's-
me? That's not where it's going to go to. It's going to go to the pharmaceutical company that's selling the what is it? The
Ozempic?
Ozempic
Mhm.
to do chemical burns.
See, you could do that, and it would probably depend on because they could do both, right? It would depend on the user, but I think most users that would be using this would definitely lean more towards the affirmation side of marketing. So Google just gets to be the bad cop, right?
Yeah.
And then they get to sell that information to the good cop, and they still win out.
So
This is an incredible dystopia that we
This,
just created.
this
So
has been
here-
ADHD Thoughts with Steven. Thank you.
so here's another little dystopia, which I don't think will take as
When
long.
are we putting a safeguard on Steven's ADHD
Yeah,
thoughts?
that's fair.
There was when I was going through the documents, I heard a faint whimper, and it came from my wallet. Because
I know what you're. Yeah,
guess what the Google's new top tier plan is?
I know this one.
Go for it.
Plan?
AI
How much it costs?
$250 a month.
Yes.
For the Gemini
Yep.
LLM, just in general.
Well, for access to
for full access
to Gemini, to their different video creation tools.
this
like the whole suite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, to put that in perspective, most of the other big players, like help me out here.
OpenAI.
OpenAI, they've got a $200 plan. The makers of Claude, Anthropic,
It's also done.
they've also got like a $200 plan. So this isn't unheard of, and I think
No, they just crushed the next best price by 20%.
What's
True.
wild about this is that Google's next plan down is $20 a month.
Wait, what?
Now,
Yes.
no, that's not even the best part about this. The $20 a month one is essentially current Google One with extra features for double the price. Google One, you get 2 terabytes of cloud storage and some other nice stuff for $10 a month. For $20 a month, you get the a bit of an enhanced AI experience, several different features, and you get technically you get an additional 2 terabytes if I understand it correctly. And then you go to this $250 plan, and it's like you get 2 additional things. I don't remember what they are. I don't remember like the
I don't
value of
remember
them,
offhand either.
but
Wow.
it's literally a.
There's more than 2
Mm.
additional things because you have limited access to these things at the lower plan. It's
I'll-
more
I'll look up the
not
comparison
quite
plan.
unlimited access to the rest of the
But
things.
Well, 'cause-
their marketing though is it's $250. It's $20 and $250.
Yeah. That's wild.
Mhm.
Now I did I watched some of the demo videos in this Flow, the Google Flow,
Mhm.
the AI filmmaking.
Mhm.
Oh,
It is pretty cool.
it's wow.
It's already gone too far. Like I've seen some of the projects that have come out of it already. It's like we've gone too far. In the year from where I started seeing like a lot of people are playing around with AI video generation. And, like you can tell it's like, oh, this is a little. It looks soupy. It looks wet. Like it's not very smooth, or it's oversaturated, or
yeah.
you can tell it's
We're
AI
not
generated.
even close to the uncanny valley.
Yeah, now, like I've seen a few of them that have come out of not just on View, but a few other projects that have done it. Like they digested a bunch of public news reports years and years and years ago, and then just did all those videos and just fed it into that, and now it's just generating new news. And it is like our parents are screwed because it looks like they are saying, "Hey, this is AI generated." And they're putting stuff in to actually show, yes, this is AI generated. If you're just looking at it from even like not really going to a more investigative like mindset, like is this real or not? If you were just watching it, you would think 100%
Just
this is
seeing
an
it
act.
from across the gym or the
Yeah,
airport
you would
or
think
whatever.
this is 100% legit.
Yeah.
All right, I've got the side by side for Pro and Ultra pulled up. So with both of them, you get Gemini. Congratulations. You get Flow, which is, as we were just saying, the filmmaking tool. Whisk, which is a image to video creation using VO2. I don't know what that is, so someone else will have to jump in there for that. But you also get Notebook LM, Gemini, and Gmail, Docs, Vids, and basically the entire Google Workspace. Interestingly enough, you get Gemini and Chrome early access with Pro, but not Ultra. And then you get 2 terabytes of storage with Pro. The things you don't get in Pro that you do with Ultra is a project management prototype. Literally, or an early access prototype, says it right there. It includes a YouTube Premium individual plan
Hey, that's nice.
and 30 terabytes of cloud storage.
Oh wow. Okay, that's a pretty significant jump as far as
The
data
cloud-
storage.
The cloud storage is big. I mean, this is
'Cause,
definitely
'cause
something
The $20 a month plan was 4 terabytes.
too.
2. Oh, that was just so free is 1. Pro is 2.
Yeah,
Or
Google.
sorry, $10 a month is 1. The other one's $20 a month is 2.
Mhm.
And then you jump to
30.
30 for the 250. I mean, that's
So the I was wrong earlier when I said you get an additional 2. It's essentially just the next step. AI Pro is essentially the next step up from Google One. So if you already have Google One, you're not actually getting anything else except Gemini and Flow and some of that. But that 30 terabytes is big. What gets me though is that they're still marketing this as an individual plan, and I know that specifically because of the YouTube Premium individual plan. Like they have a project management program built in, a enough cloud storage for a team to last a while.
Unless you are generating a lot of video yourself.
I mean, yes.
Because that is a decent chunk of the plan is the video generation tools, and those aren't going to be small files.
I guess that's fair, but it's still
It is a lot.
And it could, I mean, again, like this is just, you have to think about the people who are going to buy this. It's like, they probably
the 5
know
people that are going to buy this.
They're going to justify this easily.
Mhm.
There are just the people that this is really marketed for are not us,
and
they're going to justify it.
I guess that's
no
fair because a
problem.
lot of these guys are going to be content creators that are going to write this off anyway. They
Right.
don't actually care about the price.
Right.
It's just the cost of doing business.
Mm-hmm.
Content creators, other like video farms. Like
Yeah.
again, I can see a lot of production companies just using that for like, okay, so instead of us having to do screen cards for just, concept ideas, just throw it into this.
I don't know if you guys are aware of this side of YouTube, but there is like a side for like sleep and meditation, music, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Then all of them use these somewhat static images on the background, unless they're black. This stuff is gonna be perfect for that. I bet you start seeing
There's a
lot more
Yeah, there's
stuff like that.
a couple of channels that I actually follow that it's supposed to be like intense concentration or like
Mhm.
concentration for. It's just basically like not German bass. It's just like really soft, like EDM or lo-fi,
Lo-fi.
type music that's all instrumental. And if I'm gonna listen to music like while I'm trying to work on something, like instrumental stuff is what I go for. But it has that, like what you're talking about. It's meant to. It's a stationary image. It's obviously generated, but it has like these very subtle moving parts to it. It has
Mhm.
like someone's hair is moving,
Yeah.
or like something's floating.
Very similar to what we have in our YouTube video.
This is you are giving this way too much credit.
I'm just saying it's similar. Now, with
Yes.
that being said, just and we can say this to the listeners, you can get it for free for 1 month. I kind of want to take it, get
Ooh.
Flow, and see what we can do with that.
I'm
I need
kind
it.
of not opposed to that.
I'm a little opposed. We haven't trademarked this yet.
That's
I'm not.
That's true.
I see what you're saying, but
Local run, I have no problem with. If you
Yeah.
want to play with it locally,
I don't
not-
think you
not
can
in
do
the
Flow.
can, yeah.
I don't think you
Yeah.
can do Flow locally.
How much for us to trademark it?
oh, it's not that. Honestly, it's not that much. It's just the time-consuming
All right, well,
process to do all
we
of
need to
that.
get started because I kind of want to do this too. Honestly,
Oh my God.
It's not going to be free forever, John.
hey,
Hey! Actually, we can get Ultra for 3 months for only $125 a month.
That's how they get you in.
Mhm.
Because it's basically half off for 3 months.
Yeah.
This is how they get you.
Well, that's how a lot of them are doing it. The funny thing to me is that there's all these student plans, right? Is that
Yeah.
they're offering, like Perplexity did it, OpenAI did it, Google's doing it, where they're offering like a year free to students to try to get them hooked.
Speaking of Perplexity, I'm not happy that they're trying to partner, or Samsung is trying to partner with them to be the default or whatever for the Samsung browser. Samsung browser is
Yeah.
debatably worse than Edge. So
No, it's not. It's not
Oh, no.
debatable. It is.
100% worse than
Mhm.
Edge.
well, there you go.
All
So
right.
it's just like, come on, guys.
All right. Well, from one demon to the next, I guess we can start hitting on Microsoft Build 2025 this year, which was very similar to Google's.
Copilot.
This is all Copilot. It's now. Last year was. Here's what Copilot now integrates, and you guys can start using today. Now that it's integrated, here's what we have now automated additionally on top of it. Which, to be fair, they did actually do a few things that made a lot of sense. Like, a couple of things here. It's like you already had some basic like GitHub integrations with it, and now it's actually allowing the agent to start doing pull requests.
To run directly in GitHub.
Correct.
Is the idea. Because before, the way that it was is that you had just chat. That was the thing. And then they added edit mode. So your open file, you could prompt it to do things with it. And then they introduced agent mode. So then it can go beyond that. It can search your code base. It can do all sorts of things on its own locally. And then the GitHub Copilot agent, like in GitHub, that's supposed to move agent mode into GitHub to where it can run. You prompt it, but then you don't have to have your editor open. It can kind of do its thing on the side, and then you just check the pull request at the end. I have opinion, but
it's
yeah,
it's interesting. I'm not saying it's good. It's interesting of what they are attempting to do. Now, here's the big thing is Matthew, I know you've already been seeing it. I've already been seeing it heavily inside of GitHub where the amount of just auto AI generated crap code I am seeing today is ridiculous. So
you don't need an AI to generate crap code. Let me tell you.
Oh, I know.
Let me tell you.
I make my own. Don't worry about that.
Like looking at my stuff from just like a year ago, 6 months ago.
Oh, sir,
Makes me cringe.
I looked at a couple scripts that I made back in college, and I was like, I see where I attempted to make a framework, and no, I didn't understand the basics. But no, there was a couple automation tools I was looking at based off Python. I was like, oh, let's go check GitHub, see if someone has already built this, so I might be able to take it, modify it, use the way that I want it to do. And holy crap! So now what we're seeing here is you have that slop that's just sitting out there. That Copilot is now going to be essentially modifying already AI generated code. So how are you going to actually know if you don't understand the basics of coding at all? How are you going to know what you're running is even like viable? Because you're if an AI didn't build this the right way to begin with, now you're having another AI or the same one, just maybe on an updated model, look at it again to try to fix it. When?
See,
It
that's-
sounds like you're not vibing
I'm having a
with
bad time.
Copilot.
I'm having a horrible
'Cause
time.
gotta- you gotta
would ju-
vibe harder.
If you were just in there and you were vibing, then you probably wouldn't have all these issues.
Yeah, we've talked about this ad nauseum. Copilot is a co-pilot. It's not a pilot. There still has to be somebody
Technically,
leading
a
the
co-pilot
charge.
is still supposed to be able to fly the plane in the same way that a pilot is. So
Not quite. Think of it as like a junior pilot. I guess
Yeah.
I don't know what ranks are there, but it's
It
like
still
a
should
it's
be
like
able
a
to land the
pilot in
plane.
training. It cannot land the plane. it can get the plane to take off, right? It can maybe do some mid-flight things. The problem is that it can't land the plane.
Well, like to be fair, yeah, it may not be able to land the plane, but like we've had, this is definitely oversimplifying it. We've had AI putting huge air quotes around it, running planes for years. I mean, that's the whole thing of what autopilot is. It just holds certain stability options on the plane to ensure that yes, it's going to remain in the air at whatever altitude and speeds that we actually set it at. It's basically a smart cruise control.
It's fancy cruise control. I wouldn't call it to the level of AI.
No, but it's a lot of the similar fundamental thoughts of like what AI was supposed to be capable of was built into that kind of process. So jumping from that level of autopilot to now autonomous autopilot, I don't think is that huge of a leap. Now, do I personally trust it? No.
Quite frankly, we still aren't actually at AI. We are just at extremely good large language models that can spit answers back out.
Again, yeah, it's all regurgitative information because again, it still has to have that information it's pulling from that it then has to find an answer and then spit out that answer based off of that info. It's not creating the answer from its own thought. It's not an original work. It's all regenerative.
Okay, here's one, and this is where kind of my question came from earlier. This is the little highlight that I saw. So this one of the items here on the list for Microsoft is you can use VS Code to build AI apps and agents. So when they're saying AI apps, because what I've heard of and what we've talked about before was integrations. It's integrate. There's Copilot. There's the LLM. There's the thing, and it's integrated into all the different existing apps for Microsoft. So it's integrated into Viva. It's integrated into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all that. But what would an AI app be?
It would be a lot of them is taking an application that you ran locally and now having AI actually move that to a cloud location and have AI actually the one managing and operating that app. That's how a lot of them presented it was, hey, you can now automate because it's a very manual process right now of taking the app that was 100% designed to run locally on a machine
Mm-hmm.
and now you want to stick that in the cloud.
Uh-huh.
They don't run natively in the cloud majority of the time. There's some modifications you have to do. So that agent is now being bolted on top of that and automating that entire process for you. So you just say, hey, I have this app. It runs here. Here's all of its backend operations. Here's all of its databases and what it does. Go stick it over here.
Can we sell this to some of our client software vendors?
So some of it, most of it, I think, is even simpler than that, because when they say AI apps, it is more what you're talking about, where it's just integrating AI into the app somehow. So like we were taking a look at the different browsers, right? I think each of them do this, where Google has Gemini built into Google Search now in Chrome. Brave has Brave Search. I think DuckDuckGo does something similar. Edge was like one of the first ones to do it, surprisingly, with Bing, and then now Copilot. Like it's that kind of thing where, okay, take your app and then add AI into it, and then there's just some specific tools that they have set up so that you can make AI apps.
Okay, so it really is at its core, it really is just AI integration into an
for the
app.
most part, yes.
Okay.
And it depends on it depends on the app. Some of it might be moving it off the local and into the cloud, and then bolting on some stuff there. Some of it may be your Electron wrapper that we were talking about before the show. You're just tacking on some AI features in there somewhere. It does depend.
And then the agent is like y'all were saying earlier, that's the thing that's being bolted onto. Onto the thing.
Yeah, but it for Microsoft, that's under the their Azure AI Foundry agent service that they have. So that's what we're talking about here. So their main one of what you're discussing on this front, at least again what the keynote was hitting very, very high on, was, hey, all your Azure stuff that you have up here that you're wanting to run and all that, awesome. We can now attach an agent natively to it and let the agent handle all of this for you. Here's all this nice automation, additional tools, things, management you can do with it. Neato, great, fantastic. It still doesn't go far enough to be able to eliminate saying, hey, do you have a 365 or Azure administrator in your environment? Yes. Is their job eliminated? No. Are they taking steps to do it? They're attempting, but you still have to have someone in there to initiate their request, put in the prompts, manage the prompts, and ensure the infrastructure is still running the way that it's supposed to.
Is Copilot able to effectively give you a quote for licensing?
I can. So here's
until that's possible.
So here's the hilarious thing is, because I test this annually. I haven't tested it since February, but no, I have a prompt that actually is supposed to spit me out Microsoft's their entire licensing structure, how it's supposed to be implemented, and what features should you be going for. And every year, it still gets sections of it wrong.
You could realistically build that tool, but you're gonna have to do a few manual things. You're gonna have to build in some manual parts of the pipeline. Not manual as in somebody has to interact with it, but manual as in somebody has to specify this is what we mean by these different licensing. And this is how the math needs to be done, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So to take us back to Google really quick, because Matthew and search engines, or Matthew mentioning Google and search engines reminded me of this. Google wants to totally overhaul their Google search and turn it into a pure AI interface.
Which is not surprising.
No, it's not, but I am not happy about it.
But that's what Microsoft was doing super heavy-handedly towards the end of the Bing branding, and then they just changed it to Copilot. Because like I think we complained about it when it was happening was you would search, and then before you knew it, you were in a Bing window prompting Bing instead of actually searching for Bing. It's not surprising that Google wants to do something similar.
Yeah, and I agree. It's not surprising, but I'm not really happy about it because it's from the way that it's been explained, it is not a Perplexity interface where it's going to spit you out a general descriptor, general answer of what you have, and then also provide
a list of sources.
A list of sources. It's more of a ChatGPT interface where it's just like, here's the answer. Good luck.
Which is the worst of the interfaces. I've said that before, and I will say it again. If it doesn't provide sources, it's worthless. It's garbage.
We might touch on that part a little bit later. I had a couple of things on that. We might hold that for another episode. A couple of questions on the Microsoft side of yes, John.
Sorry, before you go to those questions, I just wanted to lay everything to rest. The most superior search engine so far that is still not AI integrated. Ask Jeeves is still not AI integrated right now. We're good. The world can still keep spinning.
Somebody play
How's
the
Yahoo doing?
somebody
these days?
somebody play
Are
the
they
Rocky
still
montage
alive?
music or something. Just
Hold on, I'm
What?
looking it up right now.
What?
Does Yahoo have
Yahoo
AI
Answers got
integration?
shut down a long time ago. I don't know if their search engine has
Ask
AI
Jeeves is
integration.
the OG and will forever be the OG.
Anyway, question. So, a couple of questions I had from the Microsoft side of things, and I don't know if these are relevant or not.
Okay.
I was curious. They made a big deal about Copilot being open sourced in VS Code. Is that actually a big deal?
That is a big deal,
Yes.
and it is really, really funny to me. So when they say they open sourced GitHub Copilot, they did not open source the models, and they didn't open source GitHub itself. There was a lot of confusion about that.
No, Copilot in VS Code.
Yes,
So, what got open sourced is just the chat extension.
the chat and the agent extension.
Yes. Under the MIT license, which that is a little important to know. I actually haven't applied for one of those before, so depending on what that looks like, that may be super easy or it may be complicated. Don't know
the
yet.
MIT license, that's just an open source license that basically means you have free reign over.
Yeah.
That you can repurpose the code, you can sell it, you can do whatever you want.
Gotcha.
It's basically you get carte blanche over it, as opposed to something like like one of the GNU licenses where it's copyleft. You have to keep it open source, and it has to stay the same with the same license. So there's that. But anyway, so the way that VS Code is designed is it is a mostly open source editor. And the way that Microsoft gets around that is for one, their build pipeline adds in all the telemetry. And then for two, a lot of their proprietary stuff is locked behind extensions. So it's not built into the editor itself. For example, like what I use for work, C# Dev Kit, that's a extension that's not built into the editor. So they don't open source everything. They open source the core, the Monaco editor is what it's called. What open sourcing Copilot does is it moves that code out of the extensions, the proprietary extensions, into the core editor, which is a big deal. So the integration with different models, the way that the AI can make use of things in the editor, especially with the agent mode, that being open sourced is huge. What's really, really, really funny to me is that this comes on the heels of OpenAI bought Windsurf for like what, $3 billion or something
Around
like
that, yeah.
and then a week later, what Windsurf is it's a fork, and they basically built their own AI tools on top of VS Code's open source core editor, and they were just stomping on OpenAI's their whatever Windsurf's model was or what they did with it was stomping on OpenAI. So OpenAI went over and bought them, and then Microsoft comes around, who's a big investor in OpenAI, and open sources
But they don't.
the
they don't
only
own
thing
them.
that made Windsurf valuable. And so it's just kind of like, I don't know. It just seems so funny to me that like it either nobody talked to each other or Microsoft does not have as much investment in OpenAI as I had previously thought. So either way, it's really funny.
Or
to me.
they just don't care anymore.
That too.
It's
That
more of,
too.
I think they're just doing everything they can to guarantee they have the largest market share. I think legitimately at this point, whatever goodwill or power grab they can really do to get their ecosystem to the point where, again, not only do you personally use it, your family uses it, your friends use it, your business does, the large corporations that you're running all your apps and stuff all use it. It's all the same. That's the ecosystem that they're trying to build and everyone wants. That's why you're seeing, again, such the heavy push of having Copilot in your Windows 11 machine, having it fully integrated into your web browser, having your entire business management platform and all of your backend for your enterprise equipment. Everything is now integrated now natively, including your development now with an AI. That's what they want.
Well, and you also have to keep in mind that OpenAI is trying their hardest to take on the big three directly, because they're working on the phone. They're trying to go, I think, private, I believe, and go for profit, because actually OpenAI is not for profit. So they're trying to.
I don't think they're going to be able to get around.
I don't think they will be able to.
With OpenAI directly, I don't think they're going to be able to get around their that initial.
No,
I
business
agree,
clause.
but that's not going to stop them.
They're
No.
gonna have to fork it in a separate business
That's what I'm saying.
and do it that way.
So,
Yeah.
so that's why I think I think that's actually the big thing, as far as why Microsoft did what they did after OpenAI did what they did, is because originally OpenAI was just they were going to be the AI for everybody else. Now they want to be everybody else, and so that's going to be an interesting thing. Back on the Microsoft side, another thing that they mentioned was Windows subsystem for Linux was open sourced.
That's also a pretty big deal.
Yes.
That's less of a funny story than the like the windsurf and the VS Code stuff. But yes, they've open sourced their open source side of things, which is really
So
really cool.
why is that a big deal?
It depends on who you ask. Like for the average Joe, it doesn't mean anything because WSL is 100% a developer tool. For the developers, it does make a lot of difference because they get to see the inner workings. They also it'll be a much more transparent development process, if that makes sense. So that when, let's say, Joe Schmo has a bug or something like that, they put in an issue. If they are well versed in how everything works, they can go in and then create the solution to that issue, and then have Microsoft like review and accept the pull request or whatever. It is opening it up to the community to be able to do stuff, and I'm assuming MIT license. So if for some reason Microsoft, like, Satya Nadella decides to go away, they get another Steve Ballmer who's just the extinguished side of Embrace Extend, and then they move into that and they change all the licensing and everything. You still have these, because the thing about open source licensing is that legally, and I'm not a lawyer, so you can throw out everything that I say, but legally, my understanding is that when you apply a license to a version, so like right now it's WSL2, whatever, the one that has the MIT license stays that way. They can't just revoke the license. So now that it's out there, it's out there.
Correct.
Same as like when they open sourced, what was it, like Windows 4
Yes.
last year? They've open sourced it. It has, I think, the MIT license. They can't just take it back. They can archive it on GitHub. They can delete the repository, but anybody that has it can still legally do things with it.
Yeah, you can legally copy it, repost it, stick it wherever you want, run it, no problem at all. And that's,
You can stick it in a stew.
if you wanted.
So side note on that thing, if they're open source that, for those of you listening that like challenges and stuff, there is a whole lot of industrial equipment out there that was built to run on those old OSs, and the fact that all that's open source now.
Some of it is open source.
Not, yeah, there's
but now that they're open, the core piece of it is. I knew somebody once that had a bunch of old milling equipment, and they taught themselves how to do. I think it was basically Windows 3. I think they taught themselves how to do all of that because that's the only way they could get the equipment to run.
well, and this is where it's like, I see the potential in what you're saying and what Microsoft's also trying to do here, and I kind of wanted to get Matthew's take on this. Matthew, did you see what Microsoft is the updates that they're doing to the dev box with like the ready to code environments that they have? Like, just here you go, like you
a little bit. Like I've seen some of the stuff on it. I just haven't played around with it because it's not really applicable to our stack, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So for people where there's a lot of specific tooling that you have to set up, things like dev boxes, dev containers, different things like that, where you can have a declarative environment that pulls in all the tools that you need, just with like a script or something like that. That's great. A point in favor of Microsoft, I've said it before and I will say it again, their developer side of things is excellent. With the .NET ecosystem, we don't need that. You just download the different versions of .NET that you need. I've never run into issues where there's version mismatches or it's pointing to the wrong thing or something like that. It is very well set up to where you don't have to have extra tooling. The ecosystem is good enough as is. So I haven't played around personally with the dev boxes, but I've like seen that, and then there's it may be the same thing. There was something along the lines of like dev drives or whatever.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a like an isolated partition or whatever.
It is.
That is not as beholden to Windows Defender and stuff. So you get some speed increases and everything. So there are some cool tools like that. I just haven't personally played around.
And the one final thing that I had a question on the Microsoft side was Copilot being added to Power BI. Ian.
How do you feel about that, Ian? Is that better than Copilot being added to Access?
I mean, it's just auto visualization. It's fine. You don't have to check the back end data to make sure it's doing it the right way.
This is the first time I'm hearing about this.
He looks very excited, in case you were wondering.
He's struggling to form words due to his excitement.
I am. Let me put it this way. The last time I worked with Power BI, I had a issue where a column from an Excel sheet was throwing an error because there was a data type mismatch. I went through that column for like 3 weeks. There was no errors. Everything was the same. You know, in Excel, all you have to do is click the column and choose the data type, and everything changes. Worked on this for 3 weeks. No resolution. Submitted a ticket to Microsoft. They upgraded it to the tier 3 engineers, and then I was off the project before they ever resolved the issue. The Power BI team kept saying that it wasn't an issue on our end. It was not an issue on our end. All that to say, if the Power BI team can't resolve that small of an issue in less than 4 months, I don't hold out any hope that Copilot being integrated into this is actually going to improve anything, simply because the application that it is supporting is not great.
Don't worry, it's a different team who's going to be managing that anyway, so
Oh,
it'll work
God.
fine. Don't worry about that. It's okay.
As someone who has inner knowledge of how Microsoft works, those two teams do not talk to each other.
Why would
ever.
they? You don't have to have any cross-team collaboration to have two different products collaborate with each other. That's not a requirement.
If each team was competent in their own right, then they wouldn't have to talk to each other, right?
I was telling
Just have the AI do it.
Matthew on the way over here.
Were you about to say you were telling Microsoft on the way over here?
Yes,
Is that? Did you really just call me Microsoft?
I was.
I want to speak to HR.
No, but I am now.
I was telling Matthew on the way over here. I am amazed that Microsoft is still alive, and it is purely because of their enterprise market share that they are right now.
Inertia is one heck of a thing.
On that,
Anyway,
on that fun note,
Do you want to talk about the third devil?
we can.
Sure.
oh wait! If we're calling these devils, we could give them horseman names. So who's who?
Well, I guess OpenAI will have to like make their final push into the fray, and then we'll have the four horsemen.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if we were to, I would say that OpenAI will end up being the black horse, death, because Skynet.
I thought the gray horse was death.
There isn't a gray horse. There's a pale horse, which is technically green.
I'm gonna glance over that anyway.
Hold on. Let's just pull up the
Okay.
four horsemen.
Okay. Anyway. Okay. Well, we'll table this for a later discussion. I'm sure we'll be talking about AI
Okay.
in the near future.
We'll have to, if we're going to talk about the four horsemen of the apocalypse, we have to talk about them in terms of, are they infrastructure as a service, platform as a
No,
service?
okay.
We're not doing
All
this.
right.
We'll come back
All
to
right.
this later.
Nathan, WWDC. I only have one question that I care about, and then you can talk about anything else about it that you want. Has Apple finally released an updated Apple TV? Yes or no?
As in hardware?
Yes.
No, they don't do that on for this one. So no, they wouldn't have.
So no. But
They don't, okay, to
they
be fair,
changed the version number of it.
they don't,
But they don't release new. The only time they ever
They
release
usually-
hardware for this, it's
But
for
they sometimes announce.
for WWDC. I could be wrong on this, but I believe the only time they ever announce hardware is either desktops or laptops.
They're getting almost as
Typically.
bad as like
2 years
NVIDIA with
ago-
their Shield.
2 years ago, that's when they announced the Vision Pro was WWDC.
Oh,
if
it's
I
been
remember right.
years.
That's right.
Yes.
And it's already dead, by the way.
So this is really funny. So 2 years ago, it
Uh-oh.
was Vision OS and the Vision Pro, which was kind of a flop, which I'll let Nathan talk about because they do have some things that are starting to redeem it, but so far it's been a flop. Last year was Apple Intelligence, which still hasn't fully seen the light of day. And then this year,
But you push
we'll
the
get to
button
what
on the
they
side of the
actually
iPhone
announced.
and it glows, and I thought that was Apple Intelligence.
They haven't actually released all of the features that they promised,
Oh,
which is the problem. It's still
But you
mostly a
push-
ChatGPT wrapper.
but you hold the button and it glows and it tells you things. That's not. No, that doesn't.
So
okay.
it is. It's not.
It doesn't glow anymore.
Okay, so
It does something else.
Apple Intelligence.
the point?
Apple Intelligence is not a ChatGPT wrapper.
It's
It
not
is-
supposed to be.
They have they have integrated to where you can choose to use ChatGPT in addition to Apple Intelligence in certain things. So that is 100% an option, but that is not the default.
So what does it do if you choose to deselect ChatGPT and
So-
only use Apple Intelligence?
So you don't you have to it defaults you don't use ChatGPT. It tells you
So by
hey,
default, it's just Apple Intelligence.
Correct.
Okay.
you have to tell it to use ChatGPT.
What does it do?
So it is. So right now, they actually mentioned near the very beginning of the keynote, they mentioned that basically, I don't remember the exact wording. It was hilarious. It's basically Apple Intelligence is not up to their very high standards. So
I remember hearing that.
So
yeah.
they'll discuss it in the coming year. So basically, Apple Intelligence, as far as a direct competitor to Copilot, ChatGPT, et cetera, that's still not here.
not.
What they did point out, they are moving forward with elements of Apple Intelligence as far as their on-device model. So as far as I can tell, Apple is the only major player who is intentionally building at least some of their AI to only run local. It can phone home to custom Apple servers, but the default functions are local first. And one of the pieces of this is actually they did release on the coding side basically access to the Apple Intelligence frameworks, and they're marketing it as you can use it for your apps that are offline.
How many people can raise their hands?
Okay,
Same
John,
time.
go.
John had it first.
Because-
He's been itching.
because you said this at their next hardware announcement. If Apple wants to win me back over, if they could announce a new bring back the Xserve, that is again, it's gonna be I know it's gonna be an AI machine. That's
what
fine.
the Mac Minis are for.
No, I want an actual Xserve again.
Agreed.
Give me a Blade server. That's literally just
technically speaking, it kind of exists already. No, I've not seen anything where we've actually seen it, but Apple was very explicit when they talked about their second level AI runs on Apple Silicon in a server environment.
Didn't they talk about, was this a WWDC or was this something? Weren't they talking about doing a rack mounted Mac Pro?
So there, rack mounted Mac Pros actually existed for a long time.
I
do
mean, like,
not
a
know.
new one.
I do not know if they put Apple Silicon in it. The last one
Okay.
last one I know was Intel. I do not know if
No,
I think they.
I thought they teased it or talked about it or like
I know they
mentioned
they
came-
probably did.
I know they came out a revision that was post Intel. I think it may have Apple Silicon. I don't. Again, do not quote me on any of it.
I mean,
I
if
have to
we're
look
talking
at
about
it
the
again.
Xserves, no, I don't.
That wasn't an
They-
Xserve. No,
no.
it was the modern cheese grater.
Okay.
So the reason for that is apparently in audio recording studios, rack mounted Mac Pros were very popular.
Incredibly
yeah.
popular.
Well, no, and that's what, and I guess what I cannot for the life of me remember what the source of this thing that I'm remembering was. I can't.
I saw
remember.
multiple YouTube videos,
But it was
about
like
it too, so yeah.
I thought I saw something where there was a rumor or a plan
Yes.
or something to do
Yes.
but like a 1U like the rack
Not-
mount servers
okay,
we sell. I mean like a
so-
1U Blade server version of the Mac Pro.
It would have been
Not the Mac Pro body turned sideways stuck in a rack. I mean like an
It-
actual dedicated single U.
I would be
Blade.
shocked if Apple hadn't discussed it, and I would be shocked if there weren't prototypes sitting around.
I also wouldn't be shocked if they nixed it because it wasn't pretty enough.
the
Well, there's that.
Intel or the what the current implementation of Apple Silicon in server environment looks like. No one really knows.
Yeah.
But at least that I've seen. But so I never saw anything that was, hey, yeah, we're going to put a
I
1U
gotcha. Because honestly, I think it would
server.
it would sell.
Agreed.
I
It
think
makes
that
sense
would be
now that they have their own architecture.
Yeah.
and it's not just
and the
Intel.
reason we know it would sell is because it is incredibly easy. And there's an organization that I've been involved with that has rack mounted Mac studios.
Yeah. And just to confirm, because I just got onto Apple's main website here. Yes, there is a Mac Pro that has an M2 Ultra chip in it that is in one of the rack mount options that you can get.
like a 1U.
Not a
No,
one, not a
it's like
one
a
U.
3U.
It's
It's
no,
an
no,
adapter.
no, it's a 4U. No,
Oh,
it's
it's a
not an
4U.
adapter. No, it's an
still a
actual
4U.
board.
Oh, okay.
It's the full Mac Pro machine.
Mhm.
In the same case, you just either get it with its legs and handles, or you get it, or you buy the optional rack
That's what I
mount
mean.
kit.
It's just a Mac Pro turned sideways. That's all it is.
Yes, but this is.
But it still mounts into a rack.
Yes.
It does, but this one is full Apple Silicon based. Now, it's
Yeah.
again, it's M2 Ultra, so it's definitely older. But yes, that does exist.
Yes, Ian.
So I have two things. One of them semi on topic. One of them is actually a bit of an ADHD Ian time. First one, you mentioned that Apple was one of the only, one of, if not the only player running AI locally.
No, of the big three.
Yeah. Okay, of the big three, I would agree with. You can say Bixby's been running, has had the option to run locally with their AI for 2 years.
But Bixby's not big three.
But you're right. Bixby is not big three.
Oh,
But
Bixby.
like typical Apple, 2 years behind it. Anyways, the ADHD part of breaking news, Meta has bought 49% of Scale AI. And if you do not know what Scale AI is, they're like the big player in data set creation for training models.
Oh.
And not only that, they're very, very good at it. They do everything from images to text to even 3D point clouds. So
Interesting.
that's a pretty big move, and I'm really interested to see where this is going. It was a, if I'm reading this right, $60 to $65 billion purchase.
Whew. That makes sense.
That is a lot.
Anyway, back to
So I have a question for you,
yes.
Nathan,
Yes.
in regard to WWDC
Yes.
and the announcements made.
Yes.
When you upgrade to iOS 26, are you going to use whatchamacallit glass mode?
Liquid glass.
Liquid glass.
So let me
Take the GL off it.
First
and then
off,
JavaScript.
Pure
first-
curiosity, your preference, will you be turning it on to give it a try?
So first off, we need to explain that one of the big changes that they announced was numbering has been changed and unified to where all of their operating systems across iPadOS, macOS, et cetera, all of it is now going to be based on year.
This is
So
the best
we're-
change in my opinion.
So I think it's the second best. So they're rolling into the next OS release now is going to be iOS 26, macOS 26, et cetera, et cetera. When that happens, I might switch it over to basically clear mode for a minute just to see what it looks like. But no.
Your initial thoughts on it, that's like, I'm gonna look at it and see how much I don't like it and then turn it off.
My initial reaction was, okay, they're finally making it to where, because with the current iOS version, they do have ways to where you can change like some of the colors and stuff. But in my opinion, I found it really confusing. I'm happy that they're making it. It looks like it makes more sense now. I typically leave mine as either the default or whatever is the default for dark mode. That's why I leave mine as. I don't play around with it a lot. You like to play around with those, and skins for those icons has absolutely been a market.
Mm-hmm.
So you can already do everything that Apple announced from the UI piece. The basics of it you can already do now. You just have to do it third party.
Yeah.
Now you can do it directly.
The one thing that, like, in watching the video of it, once if our work phones are even compatible with this version,
It will be. They will be.
I might actually try it. I have a feeling that I wouldn't like it on the phone. If I had a modern Mac, MacBook, and was running Mac OS, I would be more likely to give it a longer fair shake, honestly, on that, because I like, because if I understood it correctly, like, it's just the base. whatever, something glass, liquid glass.
Liquid
The
glass.
marketing is liquid glass is the new design language,
Yeah,
basically.
but the base, like with like the glass mode, the whatever monochrome, like everything, all of it's the same, like transparent color. I think I saw where you can actually change the color of that transparency, right?
Yes. Yes.
Based
I'm
on
a-
the background, I think.
Yeah,
And also just it as well.
I'm a huge fan of monochrome UIs.
Yeah.
Like just like when I like dark mode where it's all monochrome. There's black, gray, and more gray, and that's it as far as colors available.
Based on what I can see, that looks like that's an option.
And like just seeing that, like I saw they did a blue background. They did something where it was like blue hues. I was like, ooh, that might actually be really kind of cool for just a basic, like just you're doing, like you have a Mac to do regular stuff. I like the idea of having like a black background and that like dark gray overtone of it, and everything being monochrome and black and white and just like super bland. I don't know. That was just me. Obviously, I'm not going to go out and spend the money on a Mac just to experience that, just for funsies. Someday, maybe.
You could just go to like the Apple Store or Best Buy or whatever and
That's not a bad idea.
experience it there. Yeah.
I can go turn that on exactly like that for every single Mac in
Exactly.
the store.
And then nobody will buy them.
And then
So can I rant about this now?
You know what you should actually do?
Quickly,
You should turn on
because-
high
because
contrast
we need
mode
to get to
and
the
make it
big-
even
the biggest
yeah.
change.
Okay, so liquid glass is awful. It's trash. It's terrible. Basically, if you look at
There
it,
it
if you look at the side by side of like previous iOS and then what they're doing with this, just the drop down between the iOS whatever it is now, 18,
Yes.
and then
18.
26, it looks like they took the blur from behind the elements and then applied it to all of the elements. So each of the buttons has the blur on it, but there's no blur behind it. And they also added the transparency there. So then you just get this muddled, blobby mess of nonsense. It doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Are you
It
looking-
looks okay if you're looking at some of their promotional material where it's just like the plain background, like the Mac OS background,
Oh my gosh.
and you've got the
okay.
glass and everything there. But once you start having actual content behind the glass, it's awful.
I'll chime in here. I don't use Macs, but one thing I do know about Mac users is that they do not know how to store anything in file folders,
100%.
and every single piece or file on their computer is just scattered
on the desktop.
on the desktop.
That's not just a Mac user thing, but it is very
I've seen a lot of
prominent
PCs do
amongst
it too.
Mac
Prominent.
users.
Very prominent.
It is going to look awful.
Like most
Yeah.
people, they have one of two
It is
places
gonna
that
look
they'll
awful
store
with
stuff.
this.
Nightmarish for
It's
some
either
people.
Yeah.
downloads or it's desktop. Like those are the only two directories people use.
Trash can.
I'm
Ask
just going
me
to
how I
pretend
know.
like
So-
people don't store
You're-
stuff in the
you're
trash.
forgetting
In
email.
my opinion,
You'll be
on,
happier if you do that.
You're forgetting email, Steven.
My opinion on liquid glass is that it's actually not that much different, really. And it's the first iteration. They'll refine it over the next
They're
2 or
gonna
3
have to.
generations.
It's awful.
I really like that they're moving the search bar to the bottom. I very much am going to enjoy that. And then the rest of it, all of the demos that I've seen for it
By search bar, do
the
you mean
weight-
Spotlight or like search bars in general?
in general.
Okay.
So most of what I've seen, if you're using the phone basically as default, it's not that big of a change, really. And I don't go around and mess with it. If you can easily go around and mess with it, and I agree, a lot of it's gonna look horrible. But if you don't mess with it, you just use it as defaults, as I do, it doesn't really matter.
One of the things that actually stood out to me that I thought was very interesting that they did, like on the one hand, I get it, but I don't at the same time, is how they simplified the camera app.
Yes. Oh, I'm so happy about that.
You're happy about
Yes.
it.
I
Okay.
love it.
Because I mean, I'm one of those like now like, I'm the type of person because I know about it now, like I've seen it's like, okay, yeah, you just do that. Now if I didn't know about it, if I'd gotten the update on my phone and I was going in the camera to use it and it is the way it's going to be, oh, I'd be livid for like 5 minutes while I figured out how to do it. I'd get over it eventually, but it's like what's wrong
As-
with you people? Why in the world would you do this?
So the reason why is because it has become very un-Apple in its complexity, and it's very I literally last night I sent over to my brother and sister-in-law 80 some odd photos taken with my iPhone of them and their niece when we saw them about a week ago. And that was a mix of video and photos. and trying to get around all the different modes with the way it is now, it is a royal pain. So the simplification of it is
But
going to be
it's still
so
sliding.
nice.
And see that, and I guess I don't know. I'm this is a thing where I have to kind of I mean, everybody's different, and I have to kind of rein in, like, the way I look at stuff, because I know that, I mean, I'm the only person that I know that usually looks at things the way I do. But I I don't understand that, because as far as the general premise of what you're doing with your hands, the
Mhm.
general gestures of what you're doing, no, it hasn't changed. You're still sliding. It's
But
in the current app, you have big dot in the middle,
Mhm.
you have little bitty letters, you have the little bar above,
Mhm.
and you slide between them to slide between video and picture
but
and the different types of pictures and all
the
that.
difference here though
You're
is
doing
that
the same action with the new app.
the difference here though is that you now have standard photo and standard video right next to each other. That's not been the case. You have to scroll multiple times to get to standard video and then standard photo.
And I guess I'm just one that I don't mind that, like, I don't mind that extra. I don't get so anal about, oh my God, there was one
It's
extra thing I had to scroll by. Oh
it's
my
what
God, I can't. It's so terrible. It's so terrible. I can't. I
it's one
don't
of those
get
things where
bothered by those things.
I was fine with the current interface, perfectly fine with it until I saw the new one.
And,
Now I'm like,
and that's the
oh,
one, like,
nice.
and like we can split hairs on that part
Yeah.
of it, and I'm sure there's 100 other opinions as well. I guess the other part of it that I don't understand more so than that I'm more surprised about, is it's not the bottom half of the screen, it's the top. It's the taking away the, like, the little flash icon and the little and the resolution icon that tell you can change from however many megapixels, how many, at least that's on, like,
We'll
my
see
phone.
how that goes. Now,
That was the one that kind of got, because that's really, like, really and truly like, it's not that much screen real estate.
it's that part.
You
That part
literally hid something for no apparent reason.
I almost never use it. So for me personally, I almost never use it. So I didn't notice. They did say it's going to be easier to change video formats. Because right now changing video formats is a nightmare. So
Well, it's a button. It's a thing. You see a number in the top and you
to
hit
change
it.
you base to mess with all of the different formats, you have to go into settings. You can't do it from that button. There's a bunch of other options in settings that you don't have from that button.
Well, yeah, but even the drop down
But
that they have in the new app is still only, like, what is it? 4 radial buttons, 3 radial buttons, or
but
something
you
like
can
that.
still get to all of them from there instead of settings. But we've
Let's talking to John.
okay. We do have the biggest thing that I'm amazed no one's really been talking about when it came to WWDC was Mac OS Lite is now on the iPad.
Slide.
No
Light.
Light. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I am so looking forward to this.
I mean, hey, I'm a fan of this because I liked the idea years ago when this was actually outlined that this was happening. I don't understand why everyone's so surprised and, like, oh, this is exciting.
Because they
they
actually did
announced
it.
that they were doing this for like 5 years ago.
I don't remember that.
There
And
were articles that came out. I don't remember. It must have been after one of these WWDC things, but there was an article I read back in 2019 or 2020 that outlined and it could have been a hypothesis. It could have been not Everyday Mac. It could have been one of those Mac forum or blog, like, hypothesis things. But yeah, I read an article years ago talking about how, like, the direction of iPad OS, and that basically Apple's intention was to meld Mac OS and iPad OS together, basically make a Mac OS Lite that would run on both platforms.
so that was always a hope. That was never, at least among all the sources that I follow.
Well, this basically still trends on that timeline.
They've trended it to getting closer. This is not that though. I call it light because there's still some key things missing. But the main elements of you now can do up to 4 different.
Yeah.
You can now do up to 4 different screens. You can resize your screens really easily. You now have a menu bar at the top. You now have a file access to file folders. So you have basically Finder now. You can audio devices. One of the things they point out, I thought this was actually one of those things that you don't realize it's awesome until you can do it, is that you can really easily select different audio devices. So where this becomes really good,
I do
is
love that feature on my phone.
you can turn an iPad into a full mobile production machine, whether it be audio, video, all of the above, with cell connectivity. So especially if you're doing like a live event or something like that, it is going to be huge what you can now. And also now that it does background, now that you can basically cut your video, have it render, and then go do something else on your iPad. That is, as I kind of said to the group earlier, it's like we now know, we now have a way to justify an M4 chip with 16 gigabytes of RAM on an iPad.
I was gonna say we talked about this before, I believe. The specs on like whatever the new iPad Pro,
Yes.
and like this is really overkill. Yeah, this
The current
me
iPad
justifies it.
Pro,
yeah.
not even the top end, the mid-tier iPad Pro has more specs than is significantly more powerful than my M1 MacBook Air.
So Nathan, you just mentioned something about Finder. There is a change to Finder that
Yeah, I
is
saw it.
arguably the worst design change I've ever seen.
I think we'll find worse.
The one on your left is the old Finder. The one on your right is the new Finder.
Why does it look like what's his face? What?
I have no idea what you're
Dang
referring
it!
to.
Why? Brain. Dang it!
That's wrong.
It's terrible. It looks awful.
That's wrong. Okay, so I want to take a moment to say that I appreciate Bill Atkinson for everything that he did for us. He passed away last week, I think, at the time of this recording. And all that Apple is doing today is just crapping on his grave. And all the Apple designers are doing today is crapping on his grave. And I'm very upset about that.
Why does it look like David Bowie?
It does. It does.
On that bombshell, Steven,
Tell
close
me
us out.
Tell me that that's not.
It is.
Like-
it's just the mirror face
It's backwards.
of it.
The
It's
blue
mirror
is
face
supposed
of
to
it.
be the screen, not the person.
It's,
It's wrong.
I,
It's just flat out wrong.
I agree wholeheartedly. Like that. This is, you turn that off.
No, we're getting fired up. That's
Gosh.
good music.
Freaking interrupt us over here. Y'all can't hear it, but he's trying to play the outro music to like close this episode out. I'm not going to let him do that because I can. And I haven't read the outro yet because, yeah, that's the end of the thing. So now that he's turned that off so graciously because he was being super rude, I can lead us out if that's okay with everybody else.
Motioned and seconded.
All
Third.
right. Well, we appreciate you listening. And if you stayed this long and liked what you heard, we'll probably be surprised, but we would very much appreciate you leave a comment and let us know one way or the other. You can also hit us up on X, Facebook, Instagram, or info@hostilityinthemorning.com. We upload every other Tuesday, very early in the morning on Substack, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. We suggest that you have coffee if you actually listen to this, like when it gets uploaded. If you want a one-stop shop for everything Hostile, you can find everything at hostilityinthemorning.com. And remember, have a hostile morning.